Hello there, it's Simon here. Hope you're well and having a great weekend. It's 5:15 here on the 15th of September 2019, and I just thought it'd be a good time now that my radio station has been up and running for a week for me to show you around how I got it up and running, just in case anyone was interested in the inner workings of something like this or wanted to have a go at doing one themselves. Full disclosure, this is my own radio station. I've paid for it. It is all above board and legal. And it is part of my Higher Plane music stuff, which I do, sister website essentially to Higher Plane Games. It's been running for 12 years. I've had great fun doing it. It's been going and going and going, getting a cult little following, and now it has its own radio station, which I'm super proud of. If you click on the radio tab, it's got the radio button there with a player that you can then play, but I've also embedded it into other places as well. I'm doing it this time in the morning because no one really listens after about 2 in the morning until about 6:30, 7. So whoever's listening now has probably fallen asleep with it on. Wah, wah. Thank you. So this is all being powered through something called radio.co, which is an online platform for you to upload music to and then schedule and create your own online radio station. I'm not affiliated with them, I'm not sponsored with them, I just really like their product. They were really helpful to me when I asked some questions like a couple of years ago. This has been a long time coming. And they've got a good getting started tier, which has let me play around with stuff and get familiar before I kind of put in some serious megabucks into this, which you already kind of have to do to get online licenses to get going with. I'll cover online licenses at the end of this video. I want to show you how I kind of got this up and running, because I think most people will be here because I'm mentioning radio.co. I'm on the getting started tier, which is not their gold, silver or bronze tiers. It's £23 a month. Equate that into whatever currency that you've got. It allows you for 500 listeners concurrently and a bandwidth of 1 terabyte, and that's not really an issue for me because I'm a really small company getting up and running with a small niche community. What is a slight issue is that you get 2 gigabytes of storage, and that kind of covers you for about 550-ish songs, depending on how many adverts or indents that you're putting in, essentially. And that's good because it gives you like a real good field spread in terms of the type of music that you can upload. It doesn't mean that you're going to have like endless supply of music though, so just be aware that if you're starting on this tier, you'll need to really forward plan your content and how you're going to break it up, and you'll understand as I go through stuff. Underneath you can see we're currently listening to Sirens by Folo. Recent tracks there, our schedule and what's coming up next here, and if you queue stuff manually, which you can do, that appears there. I've only got a UK license, so that's why it's only showing in the UK, and only one person has clearly listened so far today, so that's the devices, region and browser. So how did I organise everything? I'm going to kind of start in reverse and work my way backwards. My end goal was to have a schedule that would run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that the station would run almost autonomously, and I would basically create the playlists and the adverts and the schedule, and it would just do its own thing, except for when I wanted to go live, and then I would take over for those couple of hours and talk over what's going on and have a bit of a chat show and a bit of a new music type thing going on, or maybe an interview with someone. And this is how I've done it. Each playlist here is essentially a program, and it's reoccurring, as you can see from the arrow. And if I dive into, let's say, All Balloons Popped, which is essentially my version of as close to pop music as I'll allow myself physically to get. Essentially, you choose a playlist of music, and I'll explain playlists in a second, tell you the time that you start it and how long you want it for, when it's going to recur, and if you want it to repeat. And you can either have a playlist, or if you want a DJ to take over, you can select that and select your DJ from the users that you've got as you go along. I'm the only user, so it can only let me select. But essentially, if you do a live DJ, it will ignore the playlists that you've got, and it will stream whatever that DJ is playing through whatever device they've connected to using the radio.co broadcaster, which is a very simple go live, come off air button essentially, and you're like playing through a mixer, so you'll need to be prepared for that. In fact, here we go, you can see I have DJ Simon. If I'm not in, it will just play a default playlist. So what's a playlist? A playlist is made up of whatever you want to put in it, and you can see I've got loads and loads of different playlists here, and they've all got a number of items in, and an item is a piece of media. Each song that you upload, or each voiceover that you upload, so I've done like about 80 different little mini voice clips to say you're listening to Higher Plane Music Radio and stuff like that, just to kind of break up the music and to put in the potential there for adverts and show sponsors, that kind of thing, once this has got up and running. As you upload stuff, you'll be giving each piece of music or each piece of audio a title, an artist, an album. Not that the album pops up, but that's quite handy if you want to program in some rules about what gets played. You'll get to see how long it is. And then this bit at the beginning will initially be empty, but it's where you tag your music, and the tagging stuff is really important with how you use radio.co. So initially, every piece of music I would tag as music, which sounds oddly stupid, but bear with me, because if I go all the way to the first lot, I've tagged all of my voiceover clips as indents, and that allows me to start distinguishing between the two. Why would I want to do that? Well, because as I'm going through all of these different songs, I'm tagging them with the playlist that I want them to appear in. So let's scroll down here. Let's look at, yeah, here we go. Decades, Tonight Again. Good rock track. So I've tagged it as a music piece. It's in the Kickstart the Weekend playlist, the Midweek Hump, and the Hectic Eclectic. Whereas, say, this piano piece by Daigo Hanada is a music file still, but it will only pop up when it's selected as Melody and Chill and the Piano Lounge. What does that mean? That means that when I go to create a playlist, there's lots of different ways how you can do it, but if I go to Melody and Chill, which that Daigo Hanada song was tagged as, you have an option of building a playlist out however you want. You can drag a song across into the playlist. You can drag a tag across into the playlist, and that's where you can see the tags coming in, because it will just play a song that is tagged like that. And if you've got any voice recordings or anything like that you've done inside the actual radio.co browser, then they'll appear here as well. But for me, all I've got is tracks and tags. And what I wanted to do was I didn't want to have shows that are formatted so that every single show plays exactly the same song in exactly the same order. What I wanted to do was create shows that are based around themes and feelings, and so that's why I tagged songs in where I thought that they matched that certain show's vibe. So a song may be tagged as Melody and Chill, and it could appear here, but it could equally appear in the playlist of, I'm going to discard the changes because I didn't want to do anything there. That Daigo Hanada one would also appear in, where's the Piano Lounge? There it is. The Piano Lounge. So in this one, every 4 songs, then a little quick audio clip. Support Higher Plane Music. You're listening to the Piano Lounge on Higher Plane Music Radio, is basically what that does. Then it will kick into the next track and continue on. And so you build out all of these playlists as you go. You have the option, if you're building something out where you're very specific track by track, to resume partway through something or not. And you also have the option to allow a song to finish before you move to the next playlist, or if you want it to cut out midway. I've personally chose to cut out midway so that it doesn't throw the scheduler off its course. So, as you can see, all of the media is tagged. I've done it the same names as what the playlists are, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You could do it so that if you've got tracks that you want to have played more often, you could target them as, I don't know, favourites. And then you could do like fave, less fave, or like tiers like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3. So that when you then create a playlist, your playlist could end up being, and if I dive into default, it's going to be the best example of this. Basically what I've done is that if I'm not able to do my live show, it will play this default playlist that will give you a little bit of everything, and it goes round every type of tag that I've got to keep everything fresh and do like a full 360 of what the station does. But you could be like tier A, tier B, tier A, tier C, or something like that, so that you've got like your mainstay radio songs that come up all the time, and then the ones that you hear less often. Once you've created your playlists, you can then drop them into the schedule. That's why I said that I was starting back to front, because I wanted to show you where I ended up at and then how I got there. So you upload the media file and tag it. You then create your playlists either through the tracks or the tags that you've made, and then you drag those playlists into the scheduler tool. And then you click, say off air, but when you click it, it then goes on air, and then you're broadcasting out live, and you can click there, and I won't do it because we'll only get taken down for copyright, to click it off and running. So yeah, you can change the scheduler to how you see fit. You don't have to be every hour. I just found that really helpful for me. And you can see I've got it on repeat so that every single week it does the same thing. And I find that really helpful. Now for me, and probably a bit of a learning experience, is that I'd actually programmed in more programs than this on my first go through. But that 2 GB of memory basically spread my music selection too thin. So I didn't really cover all of the different genres that I wanted to do. So what I had to do was to try and like crush some of the genres together and make a bit more of a wider spanning program that I could throw more songs into to create more variety. And that's why you see the Piano Lounge only has a 1 hour play. VGM Chill generally only has a 1 hour, and it's got a 2 hour there. Ambient Aura only ever gets 1 hour as well. And Chiptune Champions only gets 1 hour, I believe, as well. Yeah. Because if I wanted to have a 2 hour playlist, I'd need to have 2 hours of music that would affect that. And that sadly would then take away from something somewhere else and make that less exciting or fresh by having different types of music. Because if people keep coming back and hearing the same stuff over and over, they're not going to stay. For me, the other thing that I've done as well is I've committed, so every week there is going to be 1 hour of new material. So I'll ship 1 hour's worth of material out, put a new hour of material in, and that will have its own new in rotation playlist as I go along. So hopefully that makes sense. On the other side of stuff as well, you get streaming links for you to then put wherever you want. The web player comes here, which is completely customizable. You can see that's how it kind of looks at the end there. You also get embed codes as well. So this song history, where you've got like the last recent 10 songs, you can just see it's just a little widget there. Sometimes it doesn't always update 100% in real time, but it's generally quite good. You'll also get statistics as well. I know this will be probably poor. No, it's not too bad. So this was the 10th of September. And you can see I had 3 people listening at 9 o'clock. and again at 12 o'clock, and then it was a little bit quiet until someone clearly dived in for going home. So we had 14 listeners. It was only actually 5 unique listeners. So whoever was in the morning, then came back for the evening, I'm assuming. And a highest number of concurrent listeners was 2. So on those times where it's 3, that looks like it could have been 2 people, but actually like it could be one person stopped and then reconnected, because you can see the average listen time is only 6 minutes. So it's kind of gone 7 minutes, sorry, so it's gone down. It then gives you a breakdown of smartphone and desktop and so on and so forth. Again, I'm only in the UK, so that's where it is there. At the moment, I know these numbers aren't exactly impressive, but I'm new. I don't have much in the way of promotion yet. I wanted to test things out before I kind of moved into it. Plus, my biggest reader base is actually America, and I don't have a license for it, so annoying. The other thing that's worthwhile looking at as well is that when you've got a license, you have to report back on who you've played and to how many people you've kind of played things for. And so you get some reports of that where you can download stuff and do tracks summaries as well. So here you can see the total amount of tracks played. 303 unique tracks have been played, 20 tracks per hour at an average duration of 304. And as you scroll down, it'll give you reports that you can then download, which is really, really helpful for your reporting later on. You can get add-ons as well, such as website builders and Alexa skills and stuff like that. I've not personally needed or delved into any of those, so I can't give you any experience on that. The other thing that's worthwhile noting is your broadcasting quality. So you get I'm running at 128 kbps because I felt that anything less than that, people wouldn't necessarily tune in for what was effectively an offline radio sound quality, which I wasn't particularly interested in. The live anytime lets me cut in and do live broadcasts wherever I want, and I've got a default crossfade of 2 seconds, which means that the last 2 seconds of one song and the first 2 seconds of the next song will cross over. On the security side of stuff, you can basically block or unblock different countries depending on what licenses that you have. Same as things like Ripper protection and ban lists for IPs. The other thing as well is that you can also have album and artist separation rules, which is really, really helpful. So I've basically got it that I can't have the same artist within 90 minutes of each other, which is really handy so that you don't get like 3 from the same artist back to back, even if they're from different albums. It makes it slightly awkward. Lastly, the other thing is that I've also got it tweeting out to a Twitter bot. That's kind of half helpful if, say, you're dealing with artists that might pick that up. I have had a lot of problems with Twitter saying that this is a bot and trying to close down my Twitter account though. So I don't do every song, I do it every 20 minutes. Plus I don't really want to spam people. So yeah, I hope that was helpful and informative. If you've got any questions or comments, just pop them down below and I'll try and answer them as best as I can. I'm not an expert by any means, I'm finding my way, but I'm really enjoying it. A quick shout out around licenses. In the UK, there's 2. You've got PPL and you've got PRS. One deals with songwriter royalties, one deals with performance royalties. And I strongly recommend buying them separately because they've both got websites that you can go onto. One you can purchase on a yearly basis. Well, the other one you can purchase as a 6-month contract, which is what I did because you're doing about 200 quid straight off the bat to get these licenses up and running. And I wanted to spread the cost across the year, which is much more difficult to do. The one that was a yearly license was supposed to take out my payments over 3 direct debits over the course of 3 months. It took it all out in one go and then was just like, oh, sorry about that. so I was really unimpressed. However, I expected no less, because there is also an organisation that does PPL and PRS as a licence combined, and they are, quite frankly, one of the worst companies I've ever had the displeasure of dealing with. Terrible phone service, no online service to speak of whatsoever, so you're always directed to the phone. They then miscommunicate with what they're doing. They try and take payment without authorization. I've spoken to some other colleagues who have already had radio stations through them, and they've said that they've refused acknowledgement of cancellation of contracts and bills, and then taken money anyway, and then said that they can't be refunded. If you then submit in your reports, they deny any knowledge of it, and then charge you the next tier up. It's blatantly like a really poorly organised rip-off scam, and so do not, under any circumstances, buy the PPL PRS licence. Keep them separate online, where you can have view of your transaction, because that company that's combined them both cannot be trusted. Google the online reviews. It's sobering reading. So yeah, I hope that's all right. You guys all take care. Thank you so much for watching and having a troll around radio.co. I give them a thumbs up. Not had a problem. Very helpful. Take care. Bye bye.
This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.